evening, everyone. I would like to call the regular meeting on this Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, of the Hamilton Township Council to order. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meeting Act. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Papero?
Here.
Mr. Todd?
Here.
Mr. Caravelli?
Here. Seeing 3 council members present, a quorum has been met. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join us in the salute to the flag, and please remain standing for the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow our heads. Dear Lord, let us pray for those less fortunate. May we follow your examples of selflessness and compassion, and may we offer our services and talents to those around who are suffering. Let us pray as well for the suffering who are suffering with loss of life or illness. May you provide them and their families with comfort and healing. As always, continue to bless our country and township, and may we as a government represent the best interest of our community. We ask this, all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Council President, for consideration, we have the minutes of March 21st, April 4th, and May 2nd of 2023.
Madam Clerk, shall I first do the additions to the...
My apologies, yes.
Okay. Please be advised that we have some updates to the agenda this evening. They are different from the agenda that was posted online. We added one more communication, C3, which is ABC license on file at Dover Park Liquors. We also removed Resolution 223-314, and then we have amended Resolutions 23-313 and 23-320. 23-313, we're going to have a discussion, and I see Mr. Forrester here in attendance. Good to see you. And that is for the resolution authorizing and approving of the execution of a client services agreement with Integrity Health, LLC. And then also for 23-320, just to go back to that one as well, we have the execution of the agreement with Pan American Life Insurance Company to provide stop-loss services in connection with the administration of the Aetna Maritime ASO plan and the Maxo prescription plan for municipal employees and those who are retirees. We also have added a resolution 23-354, this is a resolution approving a change order number 1 to contract 23-199 with Scosari Builders Inc. for renovations to Fire Station number 13 located on Main Street for the Department of Public Safety Division of Fire, and that's in the amount of $38,990,000. That was an increase.
President, excuse me not to interrupt, but since this was provided, the amount was again changed.
Oh.
It is now...
Tell me you went down. No, I'm good.
It did go down.
I'm good.
It's up, it's $37,909.
Thank you. Okay, I'm duly noted. Can I please have a motion in regards to this update to the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Papero?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Caravelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0. For consideration, the minutes of March 21st, April 4th, and May 2nd of 2023, all regular council meeting minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes. Second.
On the motion, Mr. Papero?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Caravelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Communication C1 is a joint commendation for Desai Summers of Hamilton High School West.
I think Councilman Ty will first of all read off the resolution that we have before us, the commendation for Desai, and then we'll have a moment where we can bring him up to talk to him a little bit and congratulate him on his achievement.
No pressure, Desai. So this is a resolution of commendation for Desai Summers, whereas in a race that came down to the final lunge across the line, Desai Summers, a junior at Hamilton High West, that came out on top in the 200-meter dash and took home this year's Meet of Champions title. And whereas Josiah came across the finish line in 21.56 seconds, just edging out the win of the second place winner, who came in a tenth of a second slower at 21.57 seconds. And whereas Josiah captured the Central Group 3 state title and the Group 3 state title in the event as well, while posting the second best time in the state with a 21.38 time. And whereas such an outstanding achievement by a Hamilton student should receive the praise and recognition it so well deserves, therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Hamilton and the County of Mercer and the State of New Jersey, that this resolution of commendation be and hereby is adopted, honoring Josiah Summers for his superior achievements in the field of sports and for the honor he's brought to his family, school, and community. And be it further resolved that best wishes be and hereby are extended to Josiah Summers for continued good health and success in all his future endeavors. Congratulations. We'll come down and get a picture with him. Congratulations. Township crest. Yeah. What's his best, huh? Smart people in the room all over West.
Congratulations to Cy, he's actually a senior at Hamilton West, and I know he has faculty here that who have come to support him, family. Thank you all for coming out this evening. I know he's going to make you proud at his next stop, which is college. So big accomplishment, and congratulations on all of your achievements, my friend. Good job.
Next for your consideration, we have C2, the joint proclamation recognizing July 23rd, 2023 as the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act in Hamilton Township.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Everything you do from here on out represents Hamilton.
That's right. So we have C2, 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Councilman Pepero, why don't you take it away?
Sure. Whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, was passed on July 26, 1990 to ensure the civil rights of citizens with disabilities, and whereas the Township of Hamilton affirms the principles of equality and inclusion for persons with disabilities as set forth for the State of New Jersey and as embodied in the ADA, the laws of the State of New Jersey and ordinances of the Township of Hamilton, and whereas numerous organizations in the Township of Hamilton and the State of New Jersey work with constituents and communities to bring forth the promise of hope and freedom that is envisioned by the passage of the ADA. And whereas July 26, 2023 celebrates both the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the grand opening of Freedom Village at Hamilton Woods, developed by Project Freedom, Inc. And whereas Project Freedom, Inc. advocates for the rights of people with disabilities and operates housing that fully supports those rights, now therefore be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Hamilton Township Council that greetings and best wishes are extended to all observing July 26, 2023 as Americans with Disabilities Act Awareness Day.
Thank you, Councilman Pepero. Next.
Application C3 is a receipt of documentation to update alcohol beverage control license on file number 333-037-010, Hyde Harry, Inc., trading as Dover Park Liquors. This is the activation of the license.
Can I have a motion for all three communications, C1 through C3?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabello?
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Resolution 123-313 is a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of client services agreement with Integrity Health LLC for the establishment and management of a partnership health center for Hamilton Township employees and their dependents for the term of August 1st, 2023 through July 31st of 2028. Year one, $2,871,172 maximum. Year two, $2,957,307 maximum. Year three, $3,046,027 maximum. Year four, $3,137,407 maximum. Year five, $3,231,530 maximum. The total maximum being $15,243,443.
If we could please, Doug, if you wouldn't mind giving us just an overview and summary of some of the initiatives here that are coming through from this program. Obviously, this is new for township employees and their dependents, and we just want to get a better sense. We had a chance to look over some of the notes. I know my council colleagues have done that, but it would be helpful to just give a 5-minute overview. Would that be okay?
I'd be grateful.
Okay.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be with you. Is this on or is it off? Or?
Yes, it's on.
It's on. The Partnership Health Center model is something which is especially strong, and it's intended to empower self-funded health plan employers in order to bend the health cost curve without reducing benefits. Some of you may recall back in the golden age of government, I used to run the state health pension and health benefit plans. And one of the things that unsettled me is that there was so much reliance on the carriers who have a purpose and they do a good job. But often it's a take it or leave it approach. There's a delegation of responsibility in a key area, the second largest line item, I think, in most budgets. So the Partnership Health Center concept was born out of that. In order to put the public employers, and we focus on public employers, counties, municipalities, school districts, allowing them to have a seat at the table, so to speak, with regard to management of health liabilities for their public employees, not to reduce benefits, but actually to protect them. Because I found that in speaking around the country, I would often address groups of CFOs or CEOs or actuaries or benefit consultants, and often I would ask the question, well, why do you offer a health benefit plan? And I would get this deer in the headlights look. Wow, we should know the answer to that, but they didn't have anything immediate to say. They might say, well, we have to. We've always had one. It's negotiated by the unions. Maybe if they had lunch with an actuary, they would say, oh, to recruit and retain good employees. Those are all answers that have validity, but they're not the real answer. And the real answer is to make people well. You want your employees to be well in order to be productive for the managerial responsibilities you give them. You want their dependents to be well in order that they would not distract your employees, as inevitably happens if you have illness in the home, either temporary or long-term. So the focus of any health plan should be to produce better health outcomes. That's what we do. Our whole focus is to put a partnership health center into a on-site or near-site location of a public employer, dedicated to them. This is not open to the public, but it is a robust array of services, which is part of the secret sauce in the sense that it isn't just a doc in the box. We have more services under one roof than anybody in the occupational health clinic, industry. And it's been successful. We've been doing this now for 14 years. We've never lost a client. And I say that because public employers over time, certainly provide scrutiny and evaluation to the success of the model. And I would say, in anticipation of my arrival here before you, I would say that, would hope, not being too delicate, that I've gone through the problematic equivalent of a colonoscopy. And I say that with all the humor and actually in admiration as well. And the reason why is because it's so important that there's confidence in the success of the model, because there is an attitude on the part of your employees that we seek to earn confidence in order that they would be given better health care, they would have care coordination to produce better health outcomes in their lives and the lives of their loved ones. That's what we do at the health center. The paradox is that it's all voluntary. There's nothing that we can do to order anybody to do anything, including the services that we offer. I mean, the budgetary allotments are totally within the discretion of the township decision-making process. The only things that are fixed here are really management fees, which are a very small part of this. And we found that voluntary model works. And that's why we call ourselves partnership health centers. Partnership of the employer who's sponsoring the health plan, a sponsorship of the employees and because they're the patients, and then a partnership of the clinicians, and we bring really good clinicians into the health centers, dedicating them for their use. One might say, oh well, why would somebody be in a partnership health center? They can make a lot more in private practice. That isn't true, and the reason why is because often the very best physicians are just tired of dealing with insurance companies, canceling contracts, changing them midstream, second-guessing their professional opinions. We select excellent clinicians. They're there for one reason only, and that is to boost better health outcomes among their patients. They don't have to worry about the insurance forms. They don't have to worry about being second-guessed. We have a hierarchy of clinical review. Our chief physician executive, Dr. Joseph Calvo, is especially well noted in New Jersey. He's taught actually most of the emergency department physicians in New Jersey. He used to be chairman of Seton Hall University, the emergency services department. So, we're very confident in our model. We want you to be confident. It's our privilege to serve you. We become part of the team as you choose, and I've already had conversations with your business administrator about that. We can be available or not in terms of advice and consultation about the operation of the whole health plan. We're not just an add-on clinic. I would encourage all of you to come for a tour at 200 First Responder Way. It's nicely located in terms of your population, and we think you'll be impressed. Let me stop there and ask if there are any questions.
Let me open it up to my council colleagues first.
I would like to say thank you. I know there's a lot of time put into this, not on one side, but on everybody's side, right? In order to look into something and explore the possibility of helping our employees and also saving taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
So when you try to balance that out and see that this is a win-win, I know you put in a lot of time to this. I know that you both put in a lot of time. I know the mayor has put in a lot of time. I know our legal department. This was a big investment by everyone, and I just want to say thank you for bringing this to us. Hopefully our employees are just as enthusiastic about it. I know some people were already using the facility when it was first responder only, so I think this is going to be a good piece for everybody. But more than anything, I just want to say thank you for everybody that put the time in and really dug deep. And I know there's some more conversations that are going to be had, but I just want to say thank you for the amount of work that you did, everybody collectively, for making this happen.
Thank you, and thank you for your very strong support of this as well. We really believe in the model. We believe it is a strong public policy initiative that bears good fruit for everyone.
So, Mr. Forrester, I'd like to thank you for joining us. The original concept that we were working with when we first started talking about this was in regards to our first responders and wanting to provide the best possible care to our first responders. You know, we recently had a warehouse fire. I spent a few hours on site there, and there were, you know, some of our first responders spent days at this location with a fire that would not go out. It was hundreds of thousands of square feet. The roof had collapsed on top of highly flammable material. They're there breathing in these, you know, both our police and our fire and other employees were there for hours on end. You know, for those folks who put themselves on the front line for us, you know, the original concept was we want to provide them with the best possible care that we can. And I'm pleased that through the work that you've done together, we've been able to expand that concept out to be able to provide this level of care to the entire workforce of the township. Now, one of the things that you mentioned in your presentation was that this is an all-voluntary program. Now, what's your plan to reach critical mass?
Great question. There certainly is a strong relationship between utilization of the center physically, although that is not the only way we can engage people. Care coordination involves off-site communication, and those individuals, even who may not use the center directly, can be pulled into a care coordination effort. It's been our experience that a run rate of about 6 visits per employee per year, including dependents, would be expected during the first year, moving up to 7.5 the second year, and moving past 9 in the third year. There is strength in momentum that is built over time. We've had a number of different health centers of different sizes, but we find that the proportions are almost always the same. There are some outliers. Tom Childers, our oldest health center, they see 39,000 patient visits or one sort or another a year. So building up your population patient experience is something that will occur over a 3-year period of time. We do some return on investment measurements. Leading an actuary does it. It's actually a fairly complicated and professionally sophisticated series of algorithms and databases. But we think we'll be able to come back and give you a good account of utilization and how that utilization affects your particular population. I'm aware that there's been quite a bit of discussion concerning cost increases in the health plan, not just in Hamilton, but in other locations. We are very pleased to become part of your team to begin to wrestle that ball up the ground, because we think it has long-term benefits for the township and your employees. Your employees stick around. We focus on public employers because private employers move their employees through very quickly, generally speaking on the average of 18 to 24 months. And what that means is that for you, you can capture the financial value of early intervention, wellness, care coordination, and over an employee's career save a tremendous amount of money, and that money saved is a sign of the well-being of your employees. So when you're concerned, as you obviously are as well, of the well-being of the first responders, when they are prepared to go into harm's way, it's best that we prepare them well, not just physically, but also emotionally. And that's one of the strengths that we have in our health center. We focused on first responders. We trained our staff specifically for them. And one of the ironies of our time working through your decision-making process is that it will allow us to decentralize our first responder program and open up all of our health centers for that purpose. That has a certain financial benefit to each of them, including you, but it also gives them greater access. We found that one of the benefits or silver linings of the past few years in the pandemic is that it has awakened people to understand that well-being is the whole person. It's both medical, mental health care. You know, it's emotional, it's body, and we want to treat the whole person, and we have excellent medical staff to do that, and we have a superlative behavioral health staff to address the emotional needs, because we think that that's so important.
Thank you.
I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. Thank you for the time and effort that you put into this program. Also, my team to my left, Kathy, I know you headed up a lot of these discussions, and I appreciate all the work that you put into it. I guess how difficult is it for you, Mr. Forrester, to come up with some ideas on the projections of what it may look like a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now?
In terms of
Utilization, yeah.
That's actually not difficult in the sense that all of the health centers behave very similarly. In the first 3 years, we've opened 2 health centers within the last 9 months. We're opening another one in the late fall. And what that means is you're joining a fair database. I don't want to sound crass, but a database, but in that case it's helpful to you and everybody to look at it. So we're very confident of the utilization figures. And what surprises me in one sense is that they have not really leveled off. I mean, you see Township move, into 39,000 patient visits of one sort or another. That'd be mental health and includes pharmacy. Now, in your case, I think for good reasons of prudence, we aren't beginning with pharmacy. That can be added later as you would evaluate it, and we can customize this as appropriate.
And I guess Tom's River is a good example for us to mirror similar populations, correct? And probably...
Township is much larger. They're about twice the size of the township. Now, your Board of Ed is
I thought they were
closer. Now, Township are
saying employees. I'm talking, I was mentioning population.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking.
Belly buttons.
Yeah.
I use that.
No, you're right. They have a larger township employee staff. Is that what you're saying?
The Board of Ed in Toms River is large, about twice the size of your employee number.
Okay.
And about twice the size of the Belly Buttons as well. I mean, if we were to get to their proportions,
right.
You would just have that number, let's say 20,000. We don't expect that you're going to get to 20,000 patient visits of one sort or another, certainly in the first year.
Okay.
And we would have to customize some of those services. Again, that's part of what we do, and that's part of why we would have to come back to your administration, and presumably it would involve some cost element as well. But we would, let's say, add pharmacy, or we would add acupuncture, as one of our clients recently did. Now, we would not come back to you with a recommendation to say, hey, this is a good idea, it's going to cost you more money net for your health plan. I've already tried to explain that to your mayor and Kathy, and they give me this glassy-eyed look that, that we may like you, but we're not interested in spending more money on our health plan if we don't have to. So what we would do is we would come back and say, look, for an example, we ran numbers with one of our clients. The union was particularly interested in adding pediatric capability, which I thought was very interesting because initially people were very apprehensive. Well, pediatrics, that should be kept private. Who would ever, bring their child? Well, it turned out we became very popular. They wanted to add a pediatrician. We ran the numbers. We hired a pediatrician, but we did so on the basis that, look, you give us $1 to hire a pediatrician, we will give you back $1.75 in health plan savings. That's how the model works. You give us $1, we give you back more than $1. That's the entire structure. So the health center pays for itself and then gives you back savings. That's the purpose.
You mentioned privacy. HIPAA still applies here. I mean, any patient's going to have complete confidentiality with the...
We're governed by the same HIPAA laws as everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's critical that you bring that up, and I'm so glad you did, because one of the first things that we have to communicate to the employees and their representatives, and we will be meeting with them, I understand, tomorrow morning if your affirmation is given tonight, and that is we have to reassure them that it's voluntary. rumors run rampant that, oh, well, you know, this is just going to be a mandatory clinic. And they say clinic in a derisive term. We don't refer to ourselves as a clinic, we refer to ourselves as a partnership health center. Because we're not a clinic. There are clinic companies out there, and I'm not faulting them, because they have much more modest offerings of services. But we have to keep repeating that. Look, it's voluntary. You don't have to come. And once they believe that, they come. The other thing we have to emphasize is confidentiality. You know, we have all kinds of, the number of things, you know, I had to talk with somebody one time who believed that, in this case it was a school district, that the superintendent was leafing through their medical records at night, you know, and that she didn't want to fill out the anonymous form. We didn't ask her to put her name on it, we just needed some information about the patient satisfaction survey. She did not want to touch it because she was confident that her thumbprint would be identified. Now, I can appreciate people's apprehensions today, particularly about confidentiality, but in reality, we don't have problems like that.
Thanks.
Okay.
We have to open up.
Yeah, real good. Thank you, Mr. Forrester. I think that gave us a good presentation, good overview of the program, and, you know, I think we're all excited about it, and I think it makes sense for our community here in Hamilton. I'm going to open it up for the public just to see if there's any other questions that they may have regarding this Integrity Health initiative.
They're going to need to come to the microphone, Mr. Forrester, if anybody has.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions by my council colleagues? Seeing none?
Council President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move Resolution 123-313.
Second motion.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, Mr. Quintero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
I'm happy to support an initiative that, you know, is aiming to improve health outcomes for our employees and lower our costs. I vote yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so
Forrester.
much.
Thank you again.
Thanks, Tom.
Have a good day.
Next for your consideration, we have the consent agenda items CA1 through CA39.
So we'll do a quick overview of these items. Hopefully, those in attendance and my council colleagues have had a chance to take a look at it. Chief Tazi is being reappointed to the Office of Emergency Management Coordinator, that's CA1. We also have there's two New Jersey DOT grants and applications and agreements that we have put forward. So I'm excited to see that. In addition, we have Department of Law and Public Safety regarding seatbelt crackdown. We also have a MCIA agreement, which is included regarding recyclables, and this will take us out to 2028. We also have a change to the schedule recommended by the PBA Local 66. We're going to schedule several ABC licenses renewals that we have. Actually, it's a whole bunch of renewals that we have for the town. We have tax sale certificates, cancellation of tax sale certificates. We have a banner beautification program on some of our light poles that we're going to look to award tonight. We also have a pump station generator from Water Pollution Control, looking to the maintenance of our pump stations. That's CA 26. We also have improvements made to the South Bar Street between Highland and Sunnybury. That's part of the capital account expenditure. And then you have obviously some of your refunds that out there for inspection fees and solar and construction permits. So I'd like to, anyone have any questions, councilman members, have any questions regarding?
I like the forget what numbers, I think it was 316, 317, the fixing of the roadways, I like to see it. It was a problem in the town for a long time. I know this administration has worked hard, having the grant, for those two, and there's a couple others also. It's nice to see the improvements being made in the town.
Yeah.
Councilman Ty.
In 23, the Rhino tablets, those are the computers for the,
For 10 police vehicles, yes, this is coming out of capital.
just 10?
So those were the
new vehicles that were purchased
Oh, for
under
the
the
new.
approval.
Okay. And we have to buy those through the dealership? There's,
So that's
Is that the best way to do it?
yes, that's the best way to do it, because then they get the cars in and they install them right in there, and the
Okay.
cost is, comparable.
what, CA 26, the pump stations,
Yes.
what's the prognosis there?
Let me look at that item real quick.
We had to buy generators or contract for generators?
So this is for, the emergency generators that I think that they need on a,
So was it a problem?
Basis.
So it's not that we have an ongoing issue?
contract, so that when we need them, we have a vendor to go to.
This is in
that.
case of, this is not incidental, it's not emergent, it is preventative. Okay, that's fine.
One other thing I just wanted to mention that I didn't allude to in my summary was CA 21 is, we established a resolution there to bring on another veterinarian until December 31st, 2023. Because our current Dr. Wilkie is out on maternity leave.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to mention that.
Congratulations to Dr. Doty.
And real briefly, the 23,354 that was added for the increase, it's also my understanding, some of that money's covered under, the grant
Yes.
from the state, and then there was also some money from a building fund, so it's technically all money that was there for us to be using anyway. It's not technically an increase. Correct?
The original project was from a grant, and then we also had monies that were reserved from the districts
Yep.
that we're using for the change order that's before you tonight. And so that was a project already approved, but there's a change order to it.
Thank you. I just wanted to-
Seeing more questions from my council members, can I open this up to council comments on the consent agenda from the public? Anyone have any comments? Yes. Jess.
I feel you.
Mr. Forrester, stall.
Yeah, he's small.
John Scott, 432 Tree Avenue, Coonhouse Heights. I think everybody's tall. Okay, when you were giving, no offense, when you were giving the corrections and all, would it not simpler if you did like the CA1, CA2, and you were giving those big numbers and then you trying to flip through and find all those numbers?
The document that we were, no offense, just handed, didn't have CA1, CA2. So
Oh, okay.
the number Anthony had available was a longer number.
Because these reading numbers, you would go, oh, okay, good, there you go. Okay, now, the really famous Chief Tazi, Emergency Management Coordinator, is that a fancy name for the head of the fire department, or is that another division he's also head up?
Separate time.
Separate title. Yeah.
A separate title? Okay, well, that's
Emergency
it.
Management Coordinator, correct me if I'm wrong, was under the police department, correct? And was moved into the fire department last year, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. So it's actually still shared. They still kind of share it because there's still a lieutenant that's involved from the police department. So now they're doing it together, but there has to be one coordinator, and that's, the named coordinator is Chief Tazi.
Oh, okay. All righty, and, then, this pump station thing, what is that? Is that in case the creek floods?
In case of emergency.
So I think it's involved with any upgrade that we're doing to the pump stations, and so in case it's needed, because the pump stations can't sit. Anytime something goes down with a pump station, it has to be attended to immediately.
Oh, okay. All righty, and, then the other thing had to do with, Whitehead Road.
Whitehead is,
Whitehead, Was Whitehurst? No.
So it was, Whitehurst, the Cruiser was the, Cruiser Road was the road improvements.
No, Whitehead Road, resolution establishing a contract, this is for the pump station.
Oh, that was the pump station.
Yes.
Okay.
26.
And then, the improvements to Lamont, Sandalwood, and Holmes, is that another Sandalwood, or is that the Sandalwood in the Heights? Because they did a really nice job so far. They look really good.
Is this
What number?
31.
Give us the short number.
That's a CA 31. Because that, Sandalwood in between two roads, I don't know, so I don't know, is there another Sandalwood? Because the Sandalwood they included in the Heights, I knew was like,
This was an increase to that budget, I think that, was there improvements already made in this
yeah,
area?
the only thing was that they had done, supposedly my sister said the township did it, and then a company did Evelyn's on, and so they did not put the lines for the stop lines across on her side, and that was the side that people were running.
Okay.
I can tell you what the increases are.
I know, this, Kathy, this one had to do something with sinkholes, is that correct?
Yeah, this is the change order to a project that was already ongoing, and so they had a problem on Lamont Avenue with sinkholes, and they found that after they started the project, so they ended up having to line the piping. So that's the majority of the change order, so you're exactly right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Seeing no further questions or comments by the public, I would to move the consent agenda CA1 through CA39.
My mistake, it's CA 40 since we added 54.
Okay, CA40.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to close the public comment portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA40.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0.
That brings us to ordinances on second reading.
For your consideration, ordinance 123-024 is an ordinance amending supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is establishing spaces at 255 Linwood, 130 McClellan, and 16 Partridge, and 1319 William Street. For your consideration, second reading.
Any questions from council?
No, sir.
Any questions from the public regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Council President, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23-024 on second reading.
I second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on second reading. Ordinance 2, 23-025 is an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton, County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for various capital improvements and related expenses in and for the township, appropriating $10,180,145 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $9,528,637 in general improvement bonds or notes of the township to finance same.
Yes. Since this is an ordinance that is dealing with finance, we need 4 voting council members, so we're going to open this up first for public hearing, and then we're going to extend that and table it to the council meeting of August 15th of 2023. So any comments from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion to table it to our council meeting of August 15th of 2023?
Yeah, Council President, I'd like to, no, we have to keep the public comment open. Yeah, I would like to, table ordinance 23025, until the August 15th meeting, where we will pick up on the public comment portion and, potentially act on that, ordinance.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Vaccaro?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Ordinance 323-026 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation to include Chapter 365, Registration and Maintenance of Foreclosure Mortgage Properties. This is second reading, public hearing.
Council President, I move ordinance 23-026 on first reading.
This was second.
That's the second reading, it's got to be open to the public.
Apologies.
I have no comments.
Any comments from the council?
I have no comments.
No comment.
Any comments from the public regarding this ordinance?
On the motion previously stated, Mr. Reparo,
Yes.
Mr. Ty,
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli.
Yes.
Passes 3-0, second reading public hearing. Ordinance 4, 23-027 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 215 Fees, Section 215-13, Township Property Use and Rental Fees Policies. This is second reading public hearing.
And just for everyone's information, this is for adding the Nottingham Ballroom into our lease and rental fee statute or ordinance. So any comments from the public regarding this? Any comments from council first? Any comments from the public?
What did you say?
This is the Nottingham Ballrooms establishing rental fees for Nottingham Ballroom.
We didn't previously own Nottingham, now we do, so we needed.
We're
Almost there?
Almost
Okay.
there.
We didn't previously own Nottingham, and now we are in the process of purchasing Nottingham, so we needed to add the ballroom at Nottingham to our ordinance.
But it's part of the building. All of it, the entire building.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none? Can we motion?
Council President, seeing that no members of the public wish to comment, I move ordinance 23-027 on second reading.
I second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Reparo,
Yes.
Mr. Ty,
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli.
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Ordinance 5, 23-028, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 215 Fees, Chapter 215-6, Department of Health, Recreation, Senior and Veteran Services, Division of Recreation Fees. Second reading, public hearing.
I have no comment.
No comment?
I have no comment.
Any comments from the public? Yes, please.
Lisa Williams, Briar Lane. I have a question on the golf lesson fees. So when I look at this ordinance, for one-half hour lesson, it used to be 60, we're going down to 50. For 3 one-half hour lessons, it used to be 170. Is it correct that we're going up to 180? I know that's what it says.
Yes.
Okay, so it used to be that you got a discount for signing up for 3 lessons at the same time. 3 times 60 would have been 180 and you paid 170. So now 3 times 50 is 150 and we are charging a premium because you will pay 180. So to me it looks like this might be a mistake, because why would we charge a premium for signing up for 3 at the same time?
Thank you for pointing that out.
That's supposed to be 4 one-half hour sessions for the 180?
Used to be 3.
But it's 3 one-half hour sessions will be $60, and we just bumped it down to $50 a session. They're paying more to do more lessons.
Yeah,
That
so
means
there's
nobody's gonna
nothing
sign up
extra
for 3 at a
to
time.
sign up for 3 at the same time than if you signed up for 3 separately.
$50. Yeah, you're paying 50, here you're paying 60. Why would you pay?
You can buy them individually and pay 150, or you can buy them in bulk and pay 180.
That's a misprint.
It looks like it might be wrong.
So I'm going to make a motion that we amend this. This is not a substantial.
Change, or? I think we have to table.
Yeah, we got to table.
I think we have to make the motion to table because
It's been.
it's definitely a typo. There's definitely a problem with it.
And if it's...
I'm not comfortable voting on it anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to table this ordinance until it can be looked at by the legal and director.
I'll second that.
On the motion to table, Mr. Reparo,
Yes.
Mr. Ty,
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli.
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Ordinance 6, 23-030, ordinance authorizing a rental agreement between the Township of Hamilton and City of Angel, New Jersey, Inc., CLA for the real property known as 320 Scully Avenue, Hamilton, Block 2102, Lot 23, McManaman Hall. Second reading, public hearing.
Very happy to see this on the agenda and find a suitable location for the City of Angels. Any other comments from my council members?
No, I'm glad to find that we found a home for COA.
No comments.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none?
Council President, seeing that no other members of the public wish to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 23-030 on second reading.
A second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on second reading. Ordinance 723-031 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 5, Acres,
Yeah.
Land Development, Article 3, District Regulations, Section 550-81, REO 2, REO 4, and REO 5, Research, Engineering, and Office Districts, and RD Research and Development District. This is second reading, public hearing.
I have no questions.
Any comments from council? Any comments from the public? Seeing none? Can I have a motion?
We open up to the public.
Yes, indeed.
I'd like to make the motion to close the public comment portion and move ordinance 723-031 on second reading.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0. Moving on to first reading and introduction ordinances. Ordinance 123-032 is an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton, County of Mercer, New Jersey, providing for improvements to Township's wastewater treatment system in and for the Township appropriating $10,903,000, therefore and authorizing the issuance of $10,903,000 in sewer utility bonds or notes of the Township to finance the same.
Council President, I move ordinance 23-032 on first reading.
A second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on first reading. Ordinance 223-033 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, handicap parking. This is repealing spaces established at 1224 Dukes by ordinance 23-001, 133 Jeremiah Avenue by ordinance number 21-063, 2211 South Clinton Avenue by ordinance 20-002, and 694 South Oldham Avenue by ordinance 19-048.
I'd like to introduce ordinance 223-033 on first reading and introduction.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on first reading and introduction. Ordinance 323-034 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 45-19, handicap parking spaces, establishing spaces for 20 Annabelle, 22 Aston Pink Boulevard, 315 Grand Avenue, 224 Clockner Road, 22 Marshall Avenue West, and 103 Samuel Street. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I move that we make a motion that we move ordinance 23-034 on first reading.
Second motion.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on first reading and introduction. Ordinance 23-035 is ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 317, Nuisances.
Council President, I'd like to move ordinance 423-035 on introduction and first reading.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Vaquero?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Passes 3-0 on first reading and introduction.
And that brings us to public comment. So if anyone's on the sign sheet? Okay. I'd like to open it up to public comment on any matter. Yes, go ahead. No, you're fine, sir. Just your name and address.
Okay, Tom Scott, 33 Goldenrod Court in Ravenscroft. I had to make some notes, my brain's not what it used to be.
All of us.
First of all, I want to congratulate council on what your actions and what I hope is your success in preserving the 16 acres over on Cougar Road where the warehouse was proposed. Good job. Hopefully it comes to fulfillment. And also, my wife showed me a newsletter where you were foreclosing on properties and saving those, I think it was additional 50 acres or whatever in open space. So my sincere congratulations on your actions on behalf of the residents of the town and not outside developers or whatever. So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So enough for the schmoozing.
That's good.
Get to the heart of the matter. About 3 years ago, I got involved for specific reasons, which I'll get into later, but I was dealing with recreation, then parks, then the police, then community police, Detective O'Hare, actually the mayor's office, never made it to council, but what it involved was the use of the park and abuse of the park and things that were happening in the park.
No, we just worried that you weren't being picked up by the...
Yeah, just pick up the microphone.
A little bit, just... Yeah, okay, you're good.
Anyway, when I went to recreation, they were very helpful, Nicole and Shannon and Colette now, and they said, we are getting reports of vandalism, and it's only getting worse, Tom. They made a recommendation, that the way to solve it, along with the community police department, O'Hare, along with the mayor's office, and along with parks, because parks says, they're hands off, they see people in the park all the time, but they don't know where it would lead to, so it's kind of a hands-off thing. Now, so it was brought to my attention that the best way to handle this would be to present a petition to council to reinstate funding for park security. My wife and I have lived in Ravenscroft since '90. I know we used to have security there. And now I think presently there are guards at the pickleball tennis court and also at the racquetball. I think their hours are limited. In fact, one of my neighbors works he's a crossing guard and he works at the pickleball tennis court, whatever. But there are a lot of other areas in the park, and there are a lot of hours outside of those hours where we're getting guards in those very restricted areas. So, when I was talking with all these people, they said that, vandalism, illegal use of the athletic fields, the facilities and everything, and they said the way to go about it, and I did submit a petition to this lady a week ago or whatever, but I made some extra copies, but I must have given them out to the people who were getting signatures. But I'd be glad to show you each, or I could read it. It's a short petition, whatever your choice is.
Welcome to read it.
You can read, Mr. Scott.
Read it?
You go ahead if you want to read it into the record.
The title is "The Petition to Reinstate Park Security for Veterans Park." As residents of communities adjacent to Veterans Park, we, the undersigned, request the Hamilton Council, including its next year budget, monies to be allocated for park security. We are aware of numerous incidents of vandalism, loud, disruptive behavior, illegal use of the facilities, athletic fields, etc. This behavior has only gotten worse in recent years and includes many out-of-town individuals. Since there was park security in past years, we feel that it should be re-implemented going forward. The money spent for such security would be partially offset by the costs of vandalism repairs and extra necessary police patrols. It is therefore highly recommended that council reinstate this essential park service. Thank you for your consideration. And I've got all the signatures that I have got. I presented to somebody.
You can move right there.
And what we've done is, with the help of my wife and some other individuals, we've pretty much covered Ravenscroft, and it's like 100% support. I mean, no one doesn't want security in the park. And I know I've reached out to Abbott's Commons, but because this thing came about late and I heard the meeting was on the 18th, I wanted to get it rolling. But I have reached out to someone at Abbott's Commons, but also at someone at the villages, and I know that the support, just from the few people I've talked to, it would be equally, sufficient for park security. So that's the general thing, because it was there and we want it reinstated. Now, my specific grievances are, my wife and I moved to Ravenscroft in '90.
Mr. Scott, let me just hold you right there, because I have to hold you to 4 minutes, and I just want to just open it up to council questions, and then I can bring you back up again, if there's further questions.
I know we're over your time, so maybe some of what I'm going to ask, I'll hold my questions until you come back up for your 2 minutes, because you're going to come back up, right? You get a second crack, you get a second crack.
I didn't say that at the beginning, you get 4 minutes the first time up, then you get 2.
I
I'll save my questions until after you finish, after your 2 minutes, because what I'm going to ask, you may answer already. So we'll go through everybody else, and when you come back up for your 2 minutes, I'll ask my questions.
Okay, sit down.
That's perfect, yes. This is my first go at being president after a long hiatus. So the vice is there, as you can see, on my nameplate. Go ahead, Lisa.
I think you're doing a good job. It's my first meeting with him as president. I wasn't elected yet.
Lisa Williams, Briner Lane. Well, welcome back as president.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. It's of course animal control related. Sorry, folks. We approved at the last meeting to use Trenton as like a backup when our ACOs aren't available. Is that in force now? As it was not in force this weekend.
No, we're still waiting on Trenton to get back to us. They have a copy of the MOU, and it's now in their hands. We've approved it.
Picking her up.
They have our contract.
Okay.
We're waiting.
I don't mean to cut you off, I just don't want to lose my time. There were 2 incidents this weekend that I'm aware of, and Rick was tagged in them, Steve tagged all of you guys, but you're not all part of the same group, where dogs were running at large. One actually started Saturday night in the Samden Boulevard area. It was a beagle, looked actually like a large beagle, so maybe heavier hound, whatever. It was a dog running at large. Someone, reported it on Ring, shared it on social media, apparently called the police, and we told, there's nothing we can do. The dog was still running at large on Sunday. So someone else reported it, was told, there's nothing we can do. It's Sunday, what do you want us to do? Eventually, someone apparently went out on the beagle. Later in the day, I'm going to go with it was maybe 3:30, or I'm not really exactly sure, but it was while there was still the part-time animal attendant in the time period we were told he works on Sundays at the shelter, and the person who posted about 2 medium-sized dogs running at large in the cemeteries on Cedar Lane. I recognize the name. She either used to be or is still a shelter volunteer, so she knows what she's talking about. Was given a hard time by the dispatcher, tried to explain that there was someone that could go out if you go through the process, and was told, it's Sunday, what do you want us to do? There's no one there. So here we go again. Something needs to be done, folks. It's not working, and I thought we were going to educate the dispatchers, but this was dispatchers giving residents a difficult time and appears to be not going through the process.
Well, I know we all saw that, and
We've all seen it.
Yeah, we've all seen it. And,
I don't know if you saw the tags.
Yes, we did. And I know we made comments to the administration about that, and I know Kathy is well aware and prepared to make a statement here this evening.
So there's good news and bad news, I guess, right? The bad news is that dogs running at large, or animals running at large, are not an emergent situation that requires the response of an ACO. So now, unless, of course, they appear to be rabid, or they have attacked, another animal or a person, so those would get a different response, I think. And what happens is that after hours on a Sunday, right, a call comes in, a dog running at large, it's in a particular location. By the time the call gets to the ACO and the ACO responds, it may be an hour later, and the dog is long gone, and they could spend hours trying to find the dog running at large again. So now again, some of them
may still be there, but they don't generally call out because they don't consider that a requirement for after hours. If it happens during business day, then, and ACOs are available, they will go out to the location because they're here, they're working in town, and so they will go out because chances are they can get there before the dogs have left the area.
Okay,
So now, on the other piece though, when you talk about the dispatchers, and I think the director met with the person in charge, I keep trying to forget who it is, but Chief Dabowski, it's Captain Van Ness, okay? So he's in charge of the dispatchers. So they all met and had a meeting, and they went over all of these responses. What's an emergency response? What doesn't require that? What's the procedure? Everybody is on the same page. That happened on July 12th, from what I understand.
this past Sunday.
So that was the meeting, I'm sorry, talking about between the dispatchers or the person in charge. So after that meeting, the education, if you will, and the communication is going back from the dispatchers since the 12th. So however that's being handled, right, the police are handling it on that side. So we're hoping that they're just a little bit more informed and maybe a little bit better at the responses. So again, I know that's not what we want to hear when we're calling and there's dogs running at large, but if they're not posing a threat or haven't posed a threat to
You need to
anyone...
get bit first, and then it becomes an
Well,
emergency.
that's unfortunate,
You
but
need to get bit
that's the
in order to
case.
get help.
So, in order
Isn't
to
that-
have an ACO respond
yeah,
and take their hours to try to track down the dog.
It's okay, somebody needs to get bit, and...
No, that's not
It's
actually,
an emergency.
no, that's not actually
That's
the,
true. The dog could be acting in an aggressive manner, or any of the other things. The person doesn't have to get bit in order...
And you know we don't want that, you know.
Well, anyway, it's just getting, what would be helpful, and I have one more question, and then I'll come back to what I think might be helpful to all of us in the world who have to deal with these things when nobody's available, is, my question is, those two situations that got called into dispatch, because no one was dispatched to deal with them, because it was thought to not be emergency, are they included in the data that you get from the police department? Because the director of health said, I believe at the most recent Board of Health meeting, that the data doesn't support a need. So, for animal control officers on Sundays and holidays. So, were those two calls included in the data? Because if the policy is, unless the dog is acting aggressive or someone has been bit or it's attacked another animal, it's not an emergency. But if it's not in the data, we don't have the whole population to determine a need. And then, I know my time's up, I'll be really quick. If the health department could issue and put it on their Facebook page, on the shelter page or whatever, this is the process to the public. So it's not people who get the upset people on lost and found pages trying to help getting it wrong. This is the process on weekdays, Sundays, and holidays, that these things the police will respond to. These things, they will not.
That's a fair
This is
point.
who calls, so that we all have what you guys have, because I thought that thing got passed, so I'm like answering people, this is the process, call back.
Yeah,
We've all
I like
seen
that
it.
idea,
It's a
Lisa.
complete waste of our time, and everybody gets frustrated, because it's like the township doesn't want to put in writing, this is our policy. Put it in writing, put it on the shelter page, so that those of us that try to help or run these groups can share your post, that this is the process from the administration. So everyone knows, and if they don't like it, they can all show up here. So I'm not the loudmouth complaining about yet another loose dog doing whatever. I mean, I guess I could get bit, what the heck, eventually it'll happen.
it's not an unreasonable,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
not an unreasonable request, to make that clear. There's been a lot of confusion. It's confusing to me.
I think it's a good idea too,
Right.
since we've just laid out, right, and everybody
Yeah, we're
hopefully is
getting
on the
some
same page
clarification.
between dispatch and the animal shelter personnel. So let's I'll bring that up with the director tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do.
And if you could check on whether those 2 calls count in the data.
I'm gonna ask that too, because that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to it, so.
Do you know when the first phone call came in?
I don't know exactly.
Because you said it happened the night before.
There was a Ring doorbell, a Ring alarm system alert that came across. I shared it myself just in case there was an owner looking for sightings. I think there were comments that they called the police, but I go to bed earlier than
So
she. I shared it and went to bed and moved
So
on.
allegedly, the call got made at 2:54 p.m. to Hamilton. The call lasted approximately 1 minute and 18 seconds. With Hamilton, on Sunday.
Oh.
And then was posted on your page by the caller at 3:55. So there's at least an hour of time that had lapsed between when the person called the cops and posted to say the dogs were loose. So I'm trying to figure out what time that call came in on Saturday.
So the call you're referring to, is that the 2 medium-sized dogs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Saturday is the beagle, which is a different animal.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
2 separate
Honestly,
incidents.
on Sunday, I'm in a knit group, and I'm like trying to enjoy my knitting and my friends, and I'm like, oh, the answer is before I drive home. So I don't know the exact time,
Okay.
because I'm knitting.
Okay.
We're trying to get all the facts so we know who to ask, and we did, even though we're not in the group, when Steve tagged me, we did get it.
Oh, you got the tag, okay, I didn't think you would get it. All right, well, thank
Yeah,
you, I
we're just-
appreciate your help.
We're trying to get all the answers, because most times when things get fixed, it's because there was a problem. So when it gets brought to our attention, just like anywhere else in the world, that's how it happens. We need to have these little hiccups before we can get where we gotta get to.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I agree with your suggestion too on the transparency piece. Yes, yes.
John Scott, Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. I saw in the paper where, of course I knew the daughter-in-law, Patricia Williver had passed. And here she was a commissioner for Colonial Firehouse, which I thought was totally unique, like a woman commissioner back then. I thought that was really neat. And then in the Hamilton Post, it said that Colonial had celebrated its 100th anniversary. Now, they're no longer a part of the fire district. Do they still run their own fire volunteer company and come when needed? I know they're not part of because we're down to what? 7 houses now, we used to be 9, and we're down to 7 because we lost the one that's in Robbinsville and we lost Colonial. And so, but when it said that, I thought, well, then they must have some kind of, that they're announcing their 100th anniversary and all. So they still have a volunteer company that comes when needed, or are they dissolved?
More of a social involved than anything else.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are still doing their thing and still in business, so to speak. But any volunteers are all coordinated through the volunteer program, so they're kind of all consolidated too under one person that helps coordinate them. So if they want to participate, they can do that, but it's done separately from the division, the municipal division that we have. They're the only ones responding, and they may or may not have help from the volunteers. But as far as I know, I don't know what jobs they're doing. I don't think they're riding trucks and doing that when responding to fires. I think they're doing fire police activities and things like that that are very much needed when you have a scene that needs that attention. So there are volunteers that are still involved. So they can be. I don't know how many from Colonial's company are involved or not. I'm not sure of that.
So they don't have an engineer or anything that goes out, they're just volunteer
That's correct.
company, and they help when they need
That's
traffic.
correct.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
And I know we had them here in April during our council meeting for recognizing Colonial in honor of the fact that they had their 100th anniversary.
Yeah. But I was just, wow, a woman commissioner, that was stupendous,
And so the woman commissioner was at which firehouse?
Colonial.
Colonial?
They said she was the backbone of it. She was, there was so much, there was fire engines there were tons of people there. The company, Pennington Fire Company showed up, it was like,
Chassis was in the Hamilton Post, you said? The article?
Where'd you see it?
Where did you see this,
About her?
about her?
That was in Trenton Times. It was in the obituaries. It was a long one, because I had no idea that she
Trenton
was so
Times?
big. And the viewing was there last week, I think it was.
In the Trenton Times?
Trenton Times, yeah.
In the paper version?
Paper version, right.
And the last name again?
Williver. And it was Patricia Williver, and it said how big she was in the corner, and I mean,
Okay.
it was, I was just astounded, because when I went up, the line was still out the door 3 hours later, and I'm thinking, holy shoot, But they said she was really big, and so then is Colonial still operating or not, Okay, so got that solved. And then somebody asked me, because they always think I know everything since I come here all the time, the new municipal building, shopping center is starting to get knocked down. Now they asked me, are there plans or is there no plans of what the buildings are going to look like? Has it all been settled? And once it's knocked down, I said, I didn't think we had drawings yet of what's going on yet.
There's definitely been a conceptual idea that, tentative, but it's not etched in stone yet. This is not, no pun intended. No, but, there's still going to be a public hearing, period, and.
That's I thought,
Yeah, this is
something about a public, that I'd like to see there.
At the senior center, were you at that meeting?
No.
The mayor had a Q&A with the public.
No.
There's roughly 18 people from the town came out. They asked for ideas from people in the town
I want to know about that.
and on what they wanted to see in or give any ideas.
Some good suggestions.
There was a very brief meeting. People gave their ideas and,
There was a performance.
yep. That's about where we are. There's no specifics yet, there's no design.
Well, I didn't think there was, because it's going
People
to
are
be
asking for a cost, but it hasn't gotten to that point.
like, the two separate buildings, it will just be like side by side.
One building.
One building?
No, they're combined.
Oh,
Yeah,
the school
separate.
board and the municipal is all going to be one.
Right, and shared, but probably separated,
Okay.
on sides of the wings, maybe, if you will.
Oh, okay. All right, because, I said, I'll find out,
We have, so the mayor shared with us some conceptual, not specific design, but how much square footage for different uses, like we'll have a larger council chamber.
Oh, I hope so. I hope the meeting rooms are a heck of a lot larger.
They'll go more wallpaper too.
Especially the orange. You do
I'm cutting that down, bringing it with
I
us.
said we'll go more wallpaper as well.
And I hope it's large because the way the school board meetings are going, they're like nuts at the moment.
Yeah, we'll share
Yeah.
space with the school board. There'll be direct access to the room from outside the building, so you won't have to come in and go up a bunch of
Oh, it'll
stairs.
be all on the first floor, so you don't
Yeah,
have
it'll be-
20,000 steps.
Ideas, nothing strong.
Yeah.
These are the ideas that they have. The mayor will be on the third floor overlooking council.
And make sure they have a nice cooling system for the hot council we have.
Thank you.
Because people out here are like freezing, and I know you guys, you're a hot number up there, so make sure
we
the
do.
cooling's up there. I was going to bring a towel, I can't wear shorts, my God, there's something warm.
Try to make sure you stay awake during the meetings.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, girls, you make me proud, so that you are cool over there then.
Oh, freezing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Thank you, Janice.
It was just that.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Mr. Scott, would you like to come up again?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I forgot when I was talking about, the need for park security, when I was getting these petition signatures, I was surprised how many people, majority female, but male, saying that they're afraid to walk in the park anymore. They either used to walk with their dog and their dog passed away and they didn't want to walk, or they had friends who moved away. And I was, I walked with the park, but I guess it surprised me that many people were afraid to walk in the park anymore. So it was one more argument for park security.
I know Councilman Pepero had some
Jen,
questions.
did you have anything else that you wanted to add before I ask questions?
I wanted to speak about my personal grievance why I got involved, real quick. I'll keep it quick. We moved in 1990. My wife and I moved to Ravenscroft. It was a park, a nature park. You could walk, out and everything, and it's quiet at night. And I think the turning point was in the Yady administration, and I heard the name Jeff Plunkett mentioned a lot, where we had to have state-of-the-art baseball field, concert-type sound system, and lights that will illuminate half of the park, and they did it to the soccer fields and everything, and it was a game changer. For our street, I mean, some of the neighbors, women, they get migraines from the noise, the music. Some people go in their basement. I myself, my brother's a doctor. When I know there's an event, I go to his office and sleep on an exam table, because I get up at 4 in the morning, get home at 5, 6, 7 days a week. My wife will tell you the secret to a happy marriage is just keep working. Anyway, but it's gotten to the point now where it really has impacted my life. I do not look forward to coming home, and we managed with the baseball games and that. It's a seasonal thing. Nicole was great. She actually went there, put a sign, the volume is not to go above this. I know sometimes they abuse it. The kids get in there and, hey, crank it. I don't know why they have to have music an hour before and a half an hour after the game. I played baseball, football, soccer, basketball. That's what we did. We played the game. I don't
You
know.
played without any music? How'd you do that?
And we lived.
Imagine
We
that.
survived, and it made us.
You could hear the squeak of your sneaker on the basketball court?
Oh, it was great. It was
Imagine
great.
that, right?
You imagine that, yeah.
Being able to actually hear the ball bouncing on the basketball court?
Unbelievable. The good old times. But I don't know why parents think that their kids become better ball players with louder music or better lights, but can't fight City Hall. But my thing is, we live on Goldenrod. When they did this redevelopment, I don't think an impact study was ever done to ask the residents, like they normally do, to send out a letter or something. And the crux of that was, the one night, I did tree work for 40 years, I came home one night at 5 o'clock, I heard machines in the back of 30 feet from the back of our berm where Goldenrod is. I went out there were bulldozers plowing up the field. I stopped the guy, I said, what's going on? He says, we're putting the skateboard park here. I flipped out. I said, I do not believe this. No one... and I got 100 people to sign the petition, and the next week they were putting the sewer back, and they located it over by Abbott's Commons. God bless them if they're dealing with it. But they wanted to put it 30 feet from our thing. The soccer field, Cater Field, is 40 feet from the back of our houses. And like I said, I played soccer and everything. We don't have a problem with the league games. Like I said, if I have to, I'll tell my wife I'm going to my brother's office to sleep. But what it is now, it's every night, and I'm not a racist, I have a lot of Hispanic friends, it's a national sport. Every night there's not a sanctioned, authorized game, and then I found out the signs have been taken down. And sometimes it's 5 guys, sometimes it's 20 guys. A couple of weeks ago, they picked up the goalposts, which Parks had put by the bleachers because there weren't any league games scheduled. They lifted them up, they put them sideways, and they had a pickup game. I called the police and said, how do you know it's not a sanctioned game? And it's, you go through this whole rigmarole. The last 2 times, I think, because I've called, I guess, if I don't call the emergency number, they won't pick up. And then they know my number. It's it's Tom Scott again complaining because he has to go to bed at 8:30 and the game just started. And,
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Thank you.
I have questions. You said there was vandalism. Where is the vandalism and what are they doing?
Nicole told me with Recreation that they had damaged, they literally ripped urinals off the men's room and some spray painting and that, and then a couple of ladies said that she had heard about, bottles being broken over on the courts and everything, so.
Is there anything that you've witnessed that maybe we don't know about that we could add?
Boy, now you're testing my brain.
That's what we're here for, sir.
Yeah. I can't think of one specific instance that I've seen.
We're trying to get as much information.
Understood. I mean, I've seen bleachers knocked over. I've seen goalposts knocked over. And whether they were broken or not.
Just one last question. When What time are the soccer games ending, these pickup games?
After dark,
Do you have an approximate time so we can pass that?
they usually, see, that's the thing, like, when I spoke with Detective O'Hare, I said, wouldn't it make sense, instead of us, the neighbors always having to call dispatch and have, to make a patrol, because usually right around 7 o'clock, or when these adults come out and they get their pickup games. And, you know, it's like 7 to, right now, 9:15.
If they are playing under the lights, then they have a license to be playing there because the township controls the lights.
There's no lights.
They're staying till dark.
They're playing in the
That's
dark.
right.
In the summer, you can,
Yeah, there's no
game
lights.
by night. It's not you out to late, but yeah. Yeah, it was pretty late, it's still pretty late.
And then they go to the cars and you hear, you know, they all have their boom boxes or whatever, and you hear them all driving out here across, the road. And it's, you know, to me,
So I'm in earshot of, I can see the Mayo Field from where I live, and, you know, I share your concern about the volume of the PA
thank you.
and the necessity of that, and I have raised that issue with the mayor, and we will let him know that this issue has come up. I've received complaints from as far away as Society Hill about the PA system. That's a mile away from that field, and residents are hearing the music being played at the Mayo Field. So I don't care if they want to play music, I don't care if they want to announce the name of the ball players, but as far as like projecting sound beyond the bleachers, I don't see any need.
Right.
And we were, this weekend, this week, Sunnybray Little League is hosting the state sectional Little League 12-year-old important tournament. Nottingham, everyone will want to know, won the 12-year-old District 12 tournament. Congratulations, Nottingham. Competing for the sectional championship. I'm pointing because his son's on the team. But, so I went out to cheer on our Nottingham players at Sunnybray in the sectional tournament, and they had the old school, like, single speaker, you know, and it was, you know, an all building, you know, and guess what?
It worked.
It worked. It was a great game. And so I think it's great that, you know, these kids are having kind of a big league experience, but we don't need Yankee Stadium-sized sound at the Mayo Field in order for them to have a good baseball experience, right?
And you said about one way, Society Hill, I have people over in Briarwood, they said, do we really need to know who's starting second base for not, you know, that's going the other way.
You know, one day I was, I had my windows closed, and I could name every song they played at the Mayo Field, you know, because they're loud enough, I'm hearing it right through so I share your, I'm sorry?
Saves your electric bill, you don't have to pay.
So now what they do with, and my sons both play a lot of sports, but mostly baseball, and now they'll do, like, for some of these travel teams, they'll do a song, like a walk-up song when the batter comes from kids want to do it, right? But I guess my question is, with the petition, are you looking for security and, you know, throughout the day, or just when these events are taking place, or, you know, is there any specific timelines that you could maybe provide
That's a good question, because we've had this issue in some other parks as well, and it's regarding the unpermitted use of the fields. That's generally when this happens, right, because they're not under any permit, so they don't know, or they, you know, say they don't know what the restrictions are and all of that. So I think if you could help us identify a particular day or time, and what we've done in the past is that we've gone to those time periods and we put our crossing guards out there in the summertime. And it's done a lot of good, especially, we've had the issue over at Warwick Park on Sundays. It eliminated the problem over there because...
Warwick Park,
Right.
and how they correct.
So I think that, you know, that might help us if you could provide to us kind of like the hot times when they're using it.
6 to 9, the soccer fields.
Okay.
And there's 5, that's the other thing, there's 5 soccer fields. And sometimes, I mean, I go out and there's 5 or 10 guys playing, and it's always the field that's 40 feet from the back of Goldenrod. You have 5 fields. They don't use the fence field. There's 2 fields out on Cruiser, and there are no houses there. And then there's the other field, which is 100 or 120 feet from the houses on Raintree and Goldenrod. But it's like every night, if for some reason, the day I found out the sign had been taken down, they put the signs back. It's hard to break habits, but to answer your question, 6 to 9 seems to be 7 days a week, weather permitting, and even a light drizzle will be out there playing. But I mean, 6 to 9 is the time when they're really active out there.
We appreciate that, you know.
We'll look into whether we can start scheduling a guard out there during those times, and that way they can check, and if they're not permitted, they're gonna have to leave.
I would like to offer my assistance and be kept in the loop with either my phone number or email, so, any assistance I can offer.
Give your phone number to the clerk's office, that way we know we'll all have it, and we can contact you after that to let you know what we're doing. Okay?
Excellent, okay. And once again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott, for bringing this to our attention.
On behalf of the residents, keep it that way. Hamilton residents first.
I know Councilman Ty appreciates that the skateboard park is now closer to his residence.
Thanks to your efforts. No, that's okay.
That's okay.
Well, they're okay. It's not too terrible.
Lisa. Oh, Lisa first, Janice, I'm sorry. Oh, you, Janice? Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, Godfrey, teacher, yeah, the Cornell Heights. We have a noise ordinance.
You do have a noise ordinance.
Of course, I mean, I know it was like after 10 o'clock because it was used to be the old Polish American Bordentown and all, and they were blasting. But isn't there a volume ordinance too for like all
There is
time?
a volume ordinance, and it's at certain hours. We have to refresh our memory on exactly what it says, but after a certain hour, you have to be quieter than before a certain hour. So we do have something on the
But I
books.
thought we had some kind of machine or something.
Here's the other issue with our parks. They're very well loved, and that's a credit to this township and the folks who came before us, going back to Rafferty, having the foresight to, give us such beautiful parks. And, that said, we've got to contain it and be considerate of one another, right? And so within limits, we want people to enjoy our park. And the reality is, we also have an ordinance that says no one's supposed to be in our parks after dusk.
Right.
But every night, with lit fields where there's ball playing going on, I don't necessarily want to deny the kids the opportunity to play ball, but if we can keep the noise down to a reasonable level, I think everybody would be happier with that.
Well, that's okay.
Well, just like the one field that's furthest from your house.
Yeah.
The field that's furthest from your house and darken all the others, But, no, I mean, there was, I know there was that noise ordinance.
No, she had said it just now.
Because we had a problem with that before. But, I mean, maybe they can put some kind of sign by his house that field's totally off limits, whatever they want to do stuff, and it has to be the fields are furthest away.
Well, if they're permitted, we could probably do that.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Regulated that way, yes.
If they need it in that way, but his field will be the last one that gets the permit. All the others get it, and then when we run out, then they can hit his.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Janice. Do you want to say anything else, Mr. Scott? I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying, when they were talking about the noise.
You gotta talk
About the
like,
noise, when I had spoken with Detective O'Hare, he had said that they do training on the police officers with decibel meters or something like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the technical way to say,
That-
okay, you're way beyond what, the meter's saying.
The meter says.
It's loud
Thank you.
disruptive.
Lisa. Yeah, problem.
Lisa Williams, Briner Lane. I wasn't going to comment on noise, but I used to be able to hear Nottingham's team announced in my backyard. But I don't know if you guys did something different this year, because I don't hear it anymore. Maybe I'm just in the house, I don't know. The reason I came up, I had a question on the Trenton Agreement for Animal Control, assuming that they sign it. So, assuming they sign it, and assuming we actually call them, and assuming they go out and they catch a dog, where does that dog go? Does it go, so they'll be able to bring it into the Hamilton shelter just like the police can? Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to bring something up. You brought up the Bordentown, the noise coming from Bordentown. Saturday night, there was another incident. It was in that same area. Hamilton resident called because it was around 2:30, I believe, in the morning. After they called the cops, they called me to let me know they called the cops. So
Sorry, I mean, this is part of a larger trend, too.
they're having these boom parties at the Bordentown Yacht Club or in that area, and the noise travels that far, so.
Something happening throughout the Delaware Valley, apparently.
I used to be up for a 2 a.m. party, but they're gone.
You know, once you start getting up for like children at 2 a.m.,
That's it.
you don't want to do it.
The magic's gone.
Anyone else from the public wishing to make a comment tonight? Seeing none, I'll open it up to my council comments.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
We always appreciate the residents coming out to share, because we're not everywhere. It's a 40 square mile township, so your input's important. I think we had a constructive conversation on multiple issues tonight, including the parks and some improvements that we make and some headway that I think we can make on these issues. So thank you for coming out. And the same goes for animal control, right? We continue to we're at a point now where there's been so much improvement that we're down to parsing response to call, like that's what we're the point, which is not to say it's not something that we want to address and improve on, but there's been so much improvement in the management of that facility, in the management of our health department, that these are the issues now that we can pay attention to. We see water pollution control continuing to be proactive to make the upgrades to our system that are much needed. And so that's a credit to the proactive nature of this administration. Talking about the new municipal building tonight. That's another example of taking a property that was neglected for decades, and now we're going to have a beautiful new facility in its place. So all in all, I think that the discussion that we've had points to things going in a good direction in many respects, and some things that we've got to work on. So I appreciate everybody coming out, and I wish you a good night.
Thank you, Councilman Tyke. Councilman Pipero.
Very briefly, just thank you. I know you thanked us for our time, but this is why we're here, so thank you for coming out. I know Lisa said, sorry for coming up again, but we kind of depend on you. We know you and Janice and the rest of the people that come are our eyes and ears when we can't be around, so please don't apologize for being here. This is why we do what we do. So I'm going to leave it at that and just say thank you to my team as usual. We all bring a little something different to the table. That's why we work so well together. And the agreement on this Hamilton partnership, I'll just say again, I know our legal team and Kathy and the mayor, everybody worked very hard on it. So I just want to say thank you again for putting not only our employees but also the taxpayers first, to making sure that we save money that way. Thank you for being here and have a good night.
Thank you, Councilman Pipero. I just wanted to mention one upcoming event in August 1st. at Veterans Park. From 6 to 9 p.m., we have our national night out. So, just wanted to make everyone aware of that event. It's a great event. And thank the men and women in uniform for providing their services that evening, and also the other community organizations. No, I want to thank everyone for in attendance. Lisa, you made some, and Janice and Mr. Scott, and you made some great points tonight, and we were able to make some adjustments with some of the items that we had on our docket, and we're going to follow up with you, Mr. Scott, regarding the Veterans Park issue and all our parks. That's all I really have for this evening. I think I will relinquish my role as president willingly, although he does. I think Chetty has some big shoes to fill. This is how smoothly this went. Listen, I'm just saying. But I just want to call the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Meeting to adjournment.
The preview.
That's